have the better half of Mr. Kim, the amazing NC, sharing some ancient Chinese wisdom with her foresight, a year of the ox. Over to you, NC.
Thank you, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen. Can you all see that? Yep, cool. So you may want to, this very first slide is a video, a very short video. And so you might want to just protect your ears a little bit. And that's how you see in Chinese New Year. That very first clip is from a shopping mall in Malaysia. And my mum messaged me, I spoke to her this morning, she's going, it's 5D. I don't know if there is such a thing as 5D, but hey.
And that was me and Matt in the Dragon.
All right, so Chinese New Year is also known as Lunar New Year, as in the moon, or Spring Festival. And it is China's most important festival. So it's a time for families to be together, and it's a week of official public holiday. So in China, it's like you get a whole week off. Wouldn't that be nice? Normally we would celebrate the Chinese New Year festival itself. It's 14 days long. All right, so it will run from today till the 31st of January next year, and then it'll be the year of the tiger. So do you know what animal you are? So if you do, just pop it in the chat if you do. What's your dragon, Nikita, rat, dog? Yeah, Mr. Kim, as we know, is the cock. There you go. Or rooster. Tiger, pig. Yeah, so if you don't know, here you go. So you can kind of work it out on there, roughly, okay? So you can see that the year of the ox occupies second position in the Chinese zodiac. Okay, so there are 12 animals, starting with the rat. And story goes, the ox is so laid back and so lovely that he's in this race. They're all in this race, you know, to be the top 12 animals to feature in the Chinese zodiac. And he felt sorry for the rat and gave the rat a piggyback, like a lift, right? And as they're approaching the finish line, the rat jumps off and sprints for the finish line. And so the rat got there first. So there's some people that actually say that, you know what, the rat's like just so deceitful. Sorry, any rats in the room. But that's kind of how we felt like last year was, right? It kind of was like, what was last year about? So this year's the year of the ox. It's more stable, it's more diligent, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. So it starts, so if you're born, for example, in where we say, can you see rat there? It says 1996, but that's from Chinese New Year 1996. And Chinese New Year falls late January, early February. So if you're born around about that time, late January, mid-Feb, then you need to just look it up, because you could be the animal, the horoscope from the year before. All right, so just go online. Oh, Tom's another ox. So you can see from there that there's the 12-year difference. There's someone else, like I think Nikita and Ronica are both dragons, but they're 12 years apart. So it is Spring Festival, okay? So though it's winter for most of China still, Chinese New Year is probably known as the Spring Festival in China because it starts from the beginning of spring, right? So isn't that nice? I know, like at the moment, everyone's like been feeling really, you know, or not everyone, but most people have been feeling really down. We're fed up with the whole situation that we're in, etc. It's still really cold, although it's starting to get lighter. But consider it today, the first day of spring. Wouldn't that be nice? Go get some daffodils and put them around your house, get some red and dress it up, okay? So it marks the new year on the lunar calendar, and it actually represents the desire for a new life. So it represents a desire for a new life. So how do we as Chinese people celebrate it? Firstly, we decorate it with red, like red everywhere, because red is an auspicious color, all right? It just is bold, it's in your face, right? It just lifts the spirits when you see red. And then there's food. We eat a lot. I really miss this, right? I'll be able to go and eat. Kim and I were in Bangkok a couple of years ago for Chinese New Year, saw my parents, and that dish in the middle, I don't know if you can see, it's like a big toss-up. Everyone gets stuck in to kind of toss things around, and then it's sort of you know, dished out with everybody. But for every single dish, I think there were, I can't remember now, like 8 courses or 12 courses of food that came out. And Kim and I had like the equivalent vegan version on the side. But it is a time for families to get together, and it usually happens on New Year's Eve. So it would have happened last night. And we normally call it the reunion dinner. And I think there's a travel industry, you know, like this time of the year, the week leading up to Chinese New Year, a lot of Chinese people would just fly home for the reunion dinner rather than for today. Okay, so you got to have food. And then there's firecrackers, not just fireworks, but firecrackers. So, you know, the red ones that you see, like the red Chinese ones, and they just make such loud noise. So this was originally used to scare away evil spirits. Okay, so the legend goes there's a monster called Nian who would come out to eat villagers and destroy their houses on New Year's Eve, every New Year's Eve. So the villagers discovered that burning dry bamboo would produce an explosive sound, and that would scare away the monster. So you can imagine the bamboos are long and thin, and so that's where the shape of the firecracker comes from. I heard that was banned. I think it was Malaysia, where I'm from. They for a while when I was a child, they banned firecrackers because it was just too much noise and the pets would go crazy. And so do you know what the Chinese people did? They just like got a recording of firecrackers and got massive speakers and put out in their garden. So it made no difference anyway. All right. Then the other thing is New Year's gift. These are red little packets and red envelopes that are filled with money. And it's believed to bring good luck because they're red. So like for Christmas, you give presents. So for Chinese New Year, I mentioned earlier on, the whole period lasts for 14 days. During that time, Chinese families will have open house and they would give away red packets filled with money. So like as a child, I kind of did the rounds because it was really good, and just collected all these red packets, and you come with like hundreds at the end of it. But they're normally given to children and retirees, and actually anyone who is not married. So like if like my auntie, like for years, she never married at all. So she always got red packets, right? So you have to stay single with all the single ladies and the single guys. Just, you go around and collect red packets. The only time that and as an adult, you will definitely get a red packet would be from your employer. So you would get a red packet from your employer. All right, so the year of the ox. There are a few oxes for a few bulls in this meeting. My brother is born the year of the ox, so he's 60. And if you're 60, you would have gone through all the elements five times. So you've seen 12 years 5 times. And so it's a massive birthday. It's a big birthday for my brother this year. Okay, so the year of the ox is expected to bring an influx of slow and steady and still energy. Okay, we all became really unbalanced last year, and most of us are wiped out and so over it. All right, so whilst this year is going to offer us a break from the chaos, the ox is about to say, get to work, because that's what the oxen do. They're work animals. So last year was the year of the rat, and that was really reactive. The ox is proactive. So many of us have put our big goals and dreams more or less on hold last year because we just didn't know what was happening. And, so whilst we're still a way off from restoring any form of normalcy, all right, things may slowly start to stir back into action this year. So it's a good time. So this year is a good time to reawaken any paused upon goals and dreams and start to plot the next steps. This is the year to get really clear on what you want to create, because the ox works on things that takes time. So if you think about, like plowing the farmland and everything else. So this year is about planting seeds, tending to them so that they'll grow into the things that you want in life. Okay, we all have goals and they don't unfold overnight. Okay, whether it's your physical health, your mental health, spiritual, emotional health, your communities, your families, your planet, everything else takes time. Meaningful goals take time, and the ox is part of that larger plan. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm just going to share with you some teachings from Confucius to help you on your way. So firstly, this is a saying: you are not as good as you think. I love it. This is so Chinese, right? You are not as good as you think. And so those of you like, yeah, I'm really cool. Yeah, you're just not. And the lesson behind it is that we can always strive to be better. All right, we should always be learning, always growing. So regardless of how good you think you are, you're not. All right, you're just not. I just see my mom telling me that as well. Okay, second Confucius saying, your life planned is doomed to fail. The Chinese are so enthusiastic and positive. Your life plan is doomed to fail. But in reality, though, and some of you have heard me foresight, from a yoga perspective, right, is that surrender. As much as you plan, you never know, because the world is random. The world doesn't fit into the plan. Last year didn't fit into a plan, did it? Yeah. So the world is random. So, so just, you got to be flexible. If you accept, think about this now, that saying your life plan is doomed to fail sounds really like negative. But if you accepted that, it puts things into perspective, doesn't it? It puts things into perspective, because you're not expecting all things to be sunshine and unicorn farts, right? You expect, shit to hit the fan. That's all it's saying. Okay, be flexible. This next one, mindfulness does not mean sitting on your ass. Okay, it is not that. Yeah, it's, from a Chinese perspective, we see mindfulness as an active relationship with the world and with other people. Okay, so it's not about sitting cross-legged, focusing on the breath and finding, the meaning to life and let it appear to you out of the blue. Okay, it's about living life mindfully. It's about interacting with others, engaging with the world, and doing what is right. Okay, what is right? So it's from a moment to moment basis. Yeah, be in the moment, be positive. And then the final thing from Confucius is, you are what you think you hate. Okay, so you just really got, so if something or someone kind of stirs you and presses your buttons and you absolutely hate it, whether it's a messy room or whether it's messy, untidy behavior and thought processes, they stimulated something in you. So start, it's not about them, it's about you. So take a close look at the mess and sort out your own mess. All right, that's essentially what it is. Okay. Oh, there's one more here. Look, bonus, right? You should take a step in someone else's shoes. We all know this. Rather than, judge others, it's so easy to judge others. Look at yourself first. Put yourself in their shoes. I mean, I find it really fascinating that, when people react to things, whether it's price point or, I was listening to, I was re-listening to a book, Daniel Priestley. Some of you might know Daniel Priestley. And he's talking about a personal trainer in London who was charging 50 quid an hour. This was years ago. And it was, it was the standard going rate in London. And he rebranded, found his niche. And he takes 8 clients on a year and charges 40 grand per client for 12 months. He just needs 8 clients. Okay. Some of us might think, oh my God, that's so much money. What can we, that's just being greedy. We don't know people's circumstances. We don't know what he's going to do with that money. All right. So we can't judge. All we got to do is look at ourselves. Okay. And so to wrap up, after all that, it's kind of a mishmash of stuff, but you aren't who you think you are. You aren't as good as you think you are. Your plans are uncertain and you are what you hate. Okay. So on the surface, this might seem like bad news, but on closer inspection, all it says is that you need to release your certainty and treat uncertainty with the respect it deserves. So instead of believing you are something, you take steps to actually become it. Instead of assuming that you are fixed, you look at the evidence that says you are not. Instead of assuming that you can predict the outcome of the world, you remain flexible enough to handle whatever outcome it thrusts upon you. Instead of looking at everyone and seeing what separates you, look and see what brings you together. In order to live the right way, you have to take care of yourself. You have to take charge of cultivating who you are, because as Confucius understood, that lies at the heart of everything else. So to wrap up, what we went through last year changed us. The year of the ox is going to help us reimagine and rebuild our lives and the world based on our newfound perspectives. So I'll close with a Chinese saying, don't live in the past, for it will make you depressed. Don't live for the future, for it will only make you anxious. Live only in the present, for that alone will bring you peace. Thank you very much.